Hey friends, so we're going to be drawing Christmas bells.
Yeah, we hope you're going to follow along. It's going to be a little more advanced, but it's still going to be a lot of fun. You need your drawing supplies. We're going to use
pencil
first, and then a marker. You also need some
paper and something to color with.
Yeah, you ready to start?
Yes.
We are using marker paper to draw on because we're coloring with markers at the very end. And we also have 2 sheets to protect our table. But first, starting with our pencil so we can draw the guidelines. We're going to start by drawing, let's draw a starting point right here in the middle of our paper, but towards the top, so that we have room for the bells down here. Then we're going to draw a diagonal line coming down to the left and a diagonal line coming down to the right. The nice thing about using pencils, you can always erase the lines and change them if you want. Now this is how tall the bell will be. So if you want to make the bell a little taller, you can also extend these lines. This is the center of the 2 bells. There you go. You can redraw it and erase the line that you don't want to keep. Okay, and then we're going to draw the bottom of the bell. This is also a center line for the circle or the oval. So at the very bottom, we're going to draw, it looks like an upside down T. And see how this line comes straight into this line. This is actually called perpendicular.
Yes.
And this is kind of a math word, but also an art word. And then we're going to draw another perpendicular line going this way for the other bell. Oop, I'm going to change that a little bit more. Or somewhere in between that. I'm going to draw it like this, and then I'm going to erase all of the extra lines. It is really, I do love drawing with pencils first. Sometimes so that you can work on getting the line just the way you want it.
Yeah.
But also like drawing straight with markers too, because then you don't worry about
having it look perfect.
Yeah, erasing lines and trying to make it perfect. But with the pencil lines in more advanced lessons, it's kind of fun. So we can work on it. You also want to draw these lines lightly so that it's easy to erase at the end. We're drawing a little more firmly and darker so that they show up on the camera. Now let's draw the bottom of our bell. And this is the end of our oval. And watch this. We're going to draw it like this. So we're going to come around. I'm going to go over it a couple times just to get it how I want it. And you can also erase any extra lines here once you've finished drawing that oval. Oh, I'm going to change it even a little more. Now see how this is the center of our oval or our ellipse. To draw the next oval or ellipse over here, I'm going to turn my paper this way. And I'm going to change it just a little bit. There we go. And then we're going to draw it going like this. So this one is tipped this way. I'm going to go over it a couple more times just so it feels right or looks right and erase any extra lines. Now I want these to be the same or close to the same in the width, but it's okay if one is taller than the other. That just means that they're tipped slightly different. But if you want to make them more symmetrical, you can. You can work on getting them the same height too. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to make these a little taller. Now that we got our ovals or ellipses just the way we want them, we're going to add a lip or an edge to each of the bells. So I'm going to draw 2 short lines, and they're going in the same direction as the center line. Then we're going to match this curve right here to connect the 2. Yeah, just like that. Let's repeat those same steps over here. So I'm going to draw the 2 short lines first, and we want these 2 short lines to match the other side. And then we're going to draw this curve to match here and connect the top of those 2 side lines. The bottom of our bells are looking super 3D. Now let's draw the top or the main part of the bell. First, we're going to draw an upside down U. We'll just start, I'm going to start about here on each side. So we want the same distance on each side. I got 2 guidelines just to help me, or guide points. Then we're going to start here. We're going to come up, curve around at the top, and then back down. So it looks like an upside down U. Good job. That's awesome. Then we're going to change this sideline. We're going to draw it curving out to the edge. And we'll do the same thing over here on the other side. We're going to curve out to the edge. Then we can change to our eraser and erase the guideline inside, or that part of the upside down U. There we go. Let's also, while we're here, let's erase the center guideline that goes all the way through. And also, let's erase the center guideline for the ellipse. Now we're ready to draw the other bell, and we're going to draw all the way through the first one. So we want to do the same thing. We want to draw these two guide points that come in the same distance that we did on this one. Then we're going to draw, we're just repeating the same steps. We're coming up, curving around, and then back down for the upside down U shape. Yes, and draw through the other bell. There you go, keep going. You got it. Then we're going to curve out just like we did for the other one. Then we can erase the guidelines inside and also the center line coming right down the middle and the other center line for the ellipse. Anytime we fast forward the video, or if we go too fast because we're repeating the same step, what can our art friends do?
Pause it.
Yeah, you can pause the video for extra time. Okay, now let's pick which bell is going to be in front of the other bell. I think I'm gonna put this one in front of the left one.
I think I'm gonna do this one in front of this one.
All right, then we're gonna erase the one that's behind. So I'm gonna erase this line on mine and you erase the other one. Now it looks so much more 3D because this bell is in front of this one. We also have the circle down here that's squished or foreshortened, which makes the bell look 3D also. All right, now we're ready to switch to our marker. Let's start by drawing our bow that's keeping the bells together. We're gonna start right here over the first guide point that we put, and we're gonna draw kind of a square shape. I'm gonna draw an L with a curve in the corner, and then we'll draw an upside down L to complete that bow shape, or the knot of the bow. Then we're gonna draw the bottom of the bow coming out like this, curving around, and then back in. Looks like a sideways raindrop. And I'm gonna draw that same sideways raindrop shape over here on the right side. Then this top curve, we're gonna draw that same curve matching but higher. And I'm gonna do the same thing over here. Yeah, and then we're gonna connect the top down to the bottom. And the same thing over here. And I kind of put a little curve or a little wobble in the side of it. Nice, there's our bow. Now let's draw the two parts coming down. I'm gonna draw it coming down to the left and also coming down to the right. Then I'm gonna draw another curve coming down but shorter on each side. And then we can connect those two curves on each side together. That's a really simple way to draw a bow.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
Yes.
We could also add little wrinkle lines too, coming out of the knot. Then let's switch to our eraser and erase the guidelines inside of the bow. Now let's draw holly leaves coming out of the bow. I'm going to draw one coming out to the left and also coming out to the right. Then we're going to draw V shapes or V lines going across the stem, or the middle part of the holly leaf. I'm going to draw another one right here, and maybe just two on that side, and 2 or 3 on this side. Yeah, maybe you can fit one more barely in there. Okay, it doesn't quite look like a holly leaf. Let's connect all of these lines together with little curves like this. So we connect the top, then we're gonna connect the side curves also. I'm gonna add, look at this, I'm gonna add one more little guy right here. So I can draw a curve connecting to that and then connecting into the bow. And then I'll do the same thing up here on these and on this side. Draw curves in between each of those lines. Let's repeat those same steps to add even more leaves. This part will fast forward, and I think when I make the next leaves, I'm gonna make them even spikier. So these curves will be even bigger.
Cool.
So I'll show you. I'll draw one more and show you what I mean. So I'm gonna draw these stems coming out the side like this. and coming down further into the bow. And then I'm going to draw these curves really coming in super far, like that. There we go. Now they look even more like holly leaves. Okay, now let's fast forward and we'll add even more of these leaves all around the bow. We did it. We finished adding the holly leaves. Now let's draw our bell. First, let's come and just trace over all of the pencil lines for this first bell. I'm going to start down here, trace over the ellipse or the oval. Then I'm going to trace over the sideline on each side, then also this curve, and then the side of the bell too. Now you also have to add the inside of the bell, the little thing that causes the noise. I'm not sure what it's called, the little ringer. Now let's do the same thing for the bell on the left. I'm going to turn my paper this way, makes it a little easier to trace the ellipse. We'll go around the bottom, and then the sidelines, and the little edge, and also the side of the bell. And then don't forget the little ringer on the inside. I'm going to draw over here on this one. Let's add berries to our holly also. I'm going to draw little circles and overlapping circles behind this leaf and maybe even in between all of the other leaves. Kind of look like grapes,
Yeah.
but smaller. I'm going to add them over here too. And also down here and in between these leaves as well. Oh, okay, right here too. Jack, we did it. We finished drawing our Christmas bells, except we're not completely done.
Still need to color it.
Yeah, this part we'll fast forward, but before we do that, let's pick out the colors we're going to use. Oh, also, let's use our eraser to erase any pencil lines that we can still see.
Okay.
We're using our Art for Kids hub markers, so if you have the same set, you can use the same colors we're using. But don't worry, you can use any markers. You could also use crayons, colored pencils, or even oil pastels. Colors that we have picked out are 15 red, 46 green, 35 yellow, 100, which is kind of a gold brown color, also a dark red, number 1, and also a dark gray, CG7. This part we'll fast forward, but we're going to color everything solid. We'll use red for the bow, green for the leaves, red for the berries, and yellow for the bells. You ready to fast forward?
Yes.
Jack, we did it. We finished coloring our drawing solid red, yellow, and green, but let's make it look even more 3D by adding shading or shadows. Let's start with our darker red. We're going to use number 1, and we're going to color the inside of the bow. We'll just layer on top of the first red, and look at that.
So much darker.
Yeah, it's a lot darker, and it makes this part of the bow look like it's in shadow, so it makes it look even more 3D. And we could also add a little shadow right here on the bottom part of the bow sticking out. And I'm going to add it on the other side too. We could also add a little shadow on the wrinkle that comes out of the knot. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Let's also add shadows to the leaves. We're going to use our dark gray CG7, and we're going to add little shadows inside of this leaf because the center one is behind the other ones. So we're going to add a little shadow on that one. We can also come over here and add a shadow underneath the bow. I'm going to add a shadow on this side too. And maybe on top of the bow right here where it's overlapping on the top. Yeah, just like that. That looks a lot more 3D. Now let's switch to our brown, or 100. Just like we did with the inside of the bow, we're going to color the inside of the bell, but also leave this little ringer bright yellow. Let's also add a little shadow on the ringer part. I'm going to draw a curve and then color above it. And then we'll do the same on this side. Then let's also create a shadow right here on the bell that's behind the other one. I'm also going to draw it curving around like this and coming down further all the way to the bottom. Yeah, yours is on the other side. That looks really cool. Then let's add a shadow underneath the knot and also the part of the bow that comes down like this. I'm going to draw that same shadow on this side too. Remember to pause the video if we're going too fast. Then I'm going to add a shadow here also underneath the bow and on this side. Maybe even, I'm going to add also a shadow going all the way down this side of the right bell. Just like we layered the dark red on top of the light red, you can also layer the same color on top of itself. Right here, I'm going to add another layer, but watch this. I'm not going to color in the whole thing. I'm just going to draw a curve that matches the bottom of the bell, like that. Then you have this lighter edge right on the bottom of the bell. And we'll do the same thing over here too. I'll draw a curve that matches and then color above it. Check, we did it! We finished drawing and coloring our Christmas bells, and they turned out awesome.
Yeah, they look so much better colored in.
Yeah, I hope our friends will color their drawings too. You can match the same coloring, or you can also leave the shading off, just color it solid to make the lesson a little easier.
You could also cut this out and use it as a decoration.
Oh, that would be really cool.
We hope you had a lot of fun drawing Christmas bells.
We do. We hope you had a lot of fun, and we'll see you later, art friends. Goodbye!